Hi, it's Kelsey. I still don't know how I'm going to do my intros or I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm still figuring out this whole YouTube thing to begin with, so bear with me and we'll see. We'll see what's to come of it. Um, I just got off of work. I just got off of work, and while I was driving, I was thinking about a couple of things, a couple of topics that had came to my mind as I was driving on what I wanted to speak about. And I wanted to speak about this experience um, of what happened to me yesterday, which would have been Wednesday, uh, February February 5th. And I didn't know necessarily like how I was going to word it or how I was going to bring it up or how I was going to talk about it, just because I don't know necessarily if it's me speaking from insecurity or if it was something that actually was implied in the. Sorry, I'm looking at myself and it looks like I ain't got no tooth right there, but um I don't know if it was necessarily my insecurity or, how the person was actually presenting themselves. Like, I don't know if they were intended upon doing that or if they was just like so busy with what they had to get done and yada yada yada. So anyway, so I'm going back to school and I'm taking a fashion merchandising course. So not necessarily doing the fashion design, but doing like the aesthetics and learning about merchandising and things like that. So I'm learning like the basics of fashion aesthetics. And there is a fashion show that the fashion department is putting on, and they were looking for models. And this year for 2025 and even for my school goals, I wanted to do things that I didn't get to do when I first went to college. So when I first went to college, I never really participated in any clubs or went to any events on campus. It was very rare. Like if it was something that like I had to do for a class that was an assignment, like there was a book club that I had joined, but I only did that because I needed the extra credit for my class. So I wanted to do something different than what I did my previous time going to school. So I was like, oh, I'll try out modeling. People say I'm photogenic, so what's the least they could do is say no. And I mean, at least I tried. Like, I would rather try and not get it than to just not do it at all and then be like, man, I really should have done that. Like, regret not doing it. So I wrote down in my calendar the day, time, and where it was going to be. And, I woke up early, got my day started, headed out, and I get there and, they're taking a picture of one of the girls that wants to be a model. And she was taking a picture and I'm kind of looking around, to see like where it is. Cause I didn't know like it was right there that they were doing. I was assuming that it was going to be like in a classroom where they was going to do it. And the lady looks at me and she's like, oh, you can go around. You can go behind me. And I was like, oh, well, well, I know I didn't say nothing, but I was just kind of like, um, I was still, I don't know. I was weird, and it was kind of weird because like I stopped, and I mean that's where I'm like maybe it's my own insecurity, but anyway, I stopped, and like my teacher was kind of like catacorner behind her. And, there was another lady, and I I was like, "Oh, is this where, we go to do the modeling or, apply for the modeling thing?" And, you know, it's kind of like a weird interaction. She's tending to taking pictures. The lady that first talked to me, she's, taking a picture of the girl. So I, just kind of bypass. And my teacher, she walks away. I think she goes into like the office or whatever. And I go up to the other lady and I was like, is this where we sign in for like the modeling thing?" And she was like, "Yeah, you just sign these papers and then she'll take your picture and we'll get your measurements." So I was like, oh, okay. And it was a weird interaction. And I don't know if it was necessary. Well, I don't want to say it was not organized because this isn't the first time that they've put on a fashion show. So you would think that they would be a little bit more organized or a little bit more practice on the process of doing it. You know, like it's not, I would understand if it was like their first time, you know, booking models or taking pictures and getting things set up or whatever. So it's not like it's their first time. I don't know how many times that they've done it, but it's not their first or second time. They've done it plenty of times. I'll just say that. So I fill out the information and I give them, my stuff. And the lady, she's taking my picture, and she's not, to me, she's not as enthusiastic of taking my pictures as she was the first model. And when I looked at the first model, of course, she has the model look. She's tall, she's skinny, so she's within the measurements of what they want in the model. And she has the look. And which is fine. That's perfectly fine. I know I'm not a dime. I'm a 5 point. I'll give myself a 6 depending on how I'm looking and my lipstick and things like that. I'll give myself a 7, a solid 7. So I know I'm not like the type. And again, like I said, that might have been my own insecurity from the jump as of why I felt like um why things were a little bit different for me. So she she takes my photo and then she has me turn, or no, she takes my photo and then she says, "Okay, turn." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like she wasn't really giving me direction like she was the first girl, you know? And even when so we had to do front face, side profile, and then I had to turn my back against the wall. And then she was like, "Okay, so I got to do a close up of your face." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I turn around and I hold up my picture. And even like when she said, she did. She was like, "Eh." And it just, it makes me, well, okay. So let me finish. So after she took my photo, I went up to my teacher and she did my measurements and that was okay. That it was kind of like a little awkward thing because I had things in my hand. So she was like, "Oh, well, just take this." And I'm like, "What can I take? I don't have a free hand." So like are you going to write down the measurements or you want me to write down like what? So it was awkward interactions just throughout. And they were wanting a smaller size, and you can't really tell, or maybe you can, but like I'm very big chested. So like I have broad shoulders, I have boobs. My bust is like a 40, 41. My waist fluctuates, but like they were wanting like I think a 30-inch or a 20-inch, 26-inch or something. So like you know, either way it goes, I didn't necessarily meet the requirement of of like inches. But that's not what I'm talking about. But anyway, so she does the measurements, and like I said, it was awkward, but it wasn't as awkward as the first lady and when she was taking my picture. So, they was telling me like, "Oh," or they were saying like, make sure you're available these 2 days. What we'll do is we'll just put your photo in a binder, and designers will flip through and you know, pick you if they want you to model their design. And if there's multiple designers that want you, you have to pick one. You can't, pick multiple. You got to just stick with one. So I was like, okay. So I went to my class, end of the experience, or end of the scene. So the reason I was bringing that up is it just makes me feel like, and I'm not trying to say that because it's Black History Month, you know, the real people come out. But in a sense, they do. And like I said, I've had someone tell me about an experience they had with this same person and how they felt as though she wasn't as kind or as helpful to them. And I didn't like brush them off and was like, "Oh, girl, you tripping," or whatever. No, I heard it, and I took in account, and I might not have felt the same exact experience as them, but I can see where they could feel that. And I let them know like, "Hey, I I understand what you mean about, this person." And a lot of people will say, it's 2025 and all this stuff. And that may be true. Yeah, it is 2025, but there's still certain instances you can still get vibes from people. And it might not even be a race thing, it could be a size thing. It could be the way my hair looked. Like my hair wasn't done, but like this, my hair is done. It could be numerous things. Like maybe she had in mind what model she wanted, which is completely fine. But and it's not just her. I'm not saying that she is overall the problem. What I'm saying is there's people that are like her that have the same attitude as her that might try to not come off as a certain way, but it does come off as a certain way. And I know that I've done that too, where I've had an attitude, not with the person, but maybe, I'm having a bad day in general, but like I'm still wanting to show kindness to people and not, give them like the cold shoulder or whatever. Now, do I succeed every time? No, and I pray to God that I do succeed, that I don't make people feel like, you know, I'm being rude towards them, you know. And if I do, I would want them to be like, "Oh, well, maybe, it's something outside of me." But like I said, like, and that might not have been her intention. But to me, luckily, I'm somewhat emotionally mature enough to not let it get to me in that moment, but afterwards, how it made me feel, and even for me to process it, because I could have came on yesterday or the day that it happened and been like, you know what, and blah, 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 blah. But I took time to actually think about it. Well, also, I had to work and I was tired, but like giving me some time to think about it too, because I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to prejudge, but I can't deny how I felt. And even though what I feel or what I felt could have been a lie, it's still something that I felt, if that makes sense. But overall, I don't know. This is my first time ever doing something like this. So I don't know if a designer is going to pick me or not. I hope they do. I feel as though that they need to be a little bit more open-minded to other people wanting to join and not just stick to one size, because we are all different sizes and we all have different looks. But that is a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video. But I will say, like, there's this girl on TikTok. Her name's Samira. And she's a plus size. I don't know if I would say she's a plus size content creator. And I found her TikTok a long time ago. Well, I shouldn't say a long time ago, because TikTok ain't been on for that long. But I would say maybe 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, somewhere around there. And she would post videos of, if you think you can fit it. I can't think of, but basically, she would shop at different department stores, and her size, and don't quote me on it, but I think she was either a 2X or a 3X. And she would go to, like, I don't know, Target, Fashion Nova, any stores, and buy, like, if she found like a top, and if the top that they had was only in a large, she would buy it and see if it would fit on her body. And she would make videos. And then, later on she started doing other content and stuff like that. But and that's what led me to follow her. But recently, I would say maybe a year and a half ago, she went into a department store and she was talking about how plus size clothes aren't necessarily appealing. Like, going to a plus size store that's catered to plus size women, and shopping around, or even going to like places like Target or Walmart, and them not showcasing plus size clothing aesthetically, or even having like plus size models. Well, now Target has plus size models, but I'm just using that as an example. But like, in one of her videos, she was talking about, the buyers. Like, well, she was calling out JCPenney, but she was saying, like, what are the buyers doing? Like, do you guys not know that there's also plus size people that want to be stylish, that don't want, like, to wear floral patterns? We don't want, Snoopy as our graphic. We don't want like kiddish things. We don't want old things. We want stylish clothes that look good and fit our body. And she was talking about like the buyers, and I was like, buyers? Huh. And that's what sparked my interest in fashion. I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to be a fashion designer just because I didn't really wear dresses as a child or even like in my teens. I'm starting to wear dresses now and I'm almost 30 years old, so growth, growth. But like growing up, I didn't like dresses because of how they made me look and how they made me feel. I didn't feel comfortable in them. Some of the styles I didn't like. Um, and, you know, I have a stomach. And a lot of the dresses would, like, show my stomach. You know, the outline and the rolls, the back rolls. And I mean, now that I have knowledge of what works or what would work best for my body type, back then I didn't know. Now I do, and I can pick and choose and figure out like what works and what doesn't, what looks good and what doesn't look good, and how the style, you know, asymmetric, all that jazz. But back then, you know, it would have been nice to have somebody that is like a fashionista or someone that is sensitive to plus slash was technically I'm a mid size. I'm not a plus size. I also had to learn that too. I'm a mid size because I am 5'5.5", 5'6", 185 pounds. So like I'm tall but not tall. I have long legs. I have broad shoulders. Like I said, I have a big bust. I have a midsection, and I have like a little bit of, you know, bottom half, but not like enough to be like, dang. I got a little, but it ain't as even then, you know. It's SpongeBob SquarePants back there almost. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I got a little bit of buddy. But it just would have been nice if I had someone that was sensitive to one, my body type, one, my confidence level back then, and also just to styles that would make me love my body and not be so critical of it. So back then, I wanted to be a fashion designer for plus size women, just plus size women, because back then it was straight size, plus size, just two options. Now I feel like, you know, mid size is now a part of the conversation, whereas before that wasn't the case. And I still don't know necessarily if fashion is my purpose or my choice career. But I will say that the reason why I did apply for fashion aesthetics, or at least am wanting to get into the merchandising or even just styling portion of fashion, is because I want to find someone that I needed. And I mean, I still need them. Shoot, I mean, I'm in a t-shirt right now. But I mean, like giving women or even men the option of there's more out there besides just t-shirt and jeans. Like we can be stylish too. We can find something that looks good on our body and also makes us feel good, but also to advertise it. And I mean, it's not just necessarily black. It can be white. It can be Mexican. It can be, or excuse me, Hispanic, Latino X, Asian. We all come in different shapes and sizes. And I feel like we need to broadcast that more. And even when me and my friend, we did a vision board party, and she was talking about how she was having difficulties finding certain pictures. She likes color, like she likes just colors in general. Her favorite color is pink, but she wanted to find, of course, a black woman dressed, nicely dressed, in so she can put it on her vision board. And she said she looked at Pinterest, she couldn't find any. She tried Google, she couldn't find anything. And she was really having a difficult time. And she didn't want like cartoons, she wanted like actual people that she could put on her vision board. But she said she kept finding like everyone dressed in black or neutral colors. And she was like, I mean, it's nice, but I don't want that. So I want to make that more accessible because I know it's out there. I just feel like certain algorithms and certain ways of thinking are still feeding the minds into thinking that this is the only way, and it's like, no, there's people that want different. And I feel like that's what every year we're getting different. Like, yeah, our traditions are technically still the same, but we're different. We evolve, or we are evolving every year. We're evolving. So, but anyway, yeah, um, yeah, that's the reason why I signed up for the fashion thing. But it also makes me think of like how many other people, not just people that look like me, but like how many other people deal with that, and they can even be white. Like I said, the lady might not have been that way because I was black. It was probably because, I didn't come full faced makeup. I didn't come dressed to impress. I was bigger than what she imagined, or what she was expecting for the show. Like, it could be a numerous things. I'm not making it a race thing. I'm just saying it could be. It might not have been whatever. But like I said, all of this stuff, it might just be my insecurity. But I feel like that things like that happen in the industry, in every industry, not just the fashion industry. It could be television, it could be movie, it could be film, it could be jobs. Like, this stuff happens. And I think not enough people talk about it because they feel shame on getting ragged on. And I might get ragged on for this if somebody sees it. And that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's not fine, but God got me. So I can't complain. But yeah, no, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience and kind of the reason as of why I wanted to do getting, or at least see if fashion is a career that I would want to get into. Like I said, not necessarily sewing and making the clothes necessarily. Maybe helping with like designing and giving like the vision and things like that, but not necessarily like sewing the pieces together. Because I'm not sewing nothing. I might stitch a few things. I know how to do a hem, but even then, don't have me do that. Don't have me do that. Because you be, no. I tried it once, and I'm not gonna get into that. So, but but yeah, yeah, but yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else. Overall, school is going pretty okay. I like it. I'm starting to feel a little bit of the pressure. It's funny because I've had people say, "Oh, And I was also one of them too that says like once you take like a year off of school, it's kind of hard to get back into it. I will say I slightly agree with that statement, but the reason why I'm saying I slightly agree is because right now I'm not taking classes that is destined to a degree. Granted, fashion aesthetics is on track to a degree if I was to transfer, I believe, to a 4 year college, um, and maybe even my communications class. But like, I'm not taking classes that is destined for me to get a degree. I'm taking classes that spark my interest. So it's more so me just obtaining the information and doing with it whatever I want to do with it. So if I was taking a math class, I would say yeah, it's difficult getting back into it because technically I'm supposed to be taking a business math class, but anyway, that's another story. Actually, it ain't another story. I'm not trying to take it, but no, I I I will say that it does take a moment to get into the groove of things. But like if you are good with time management or at least setting out a time to focus mainly on school and also, do your job and also clean the house, tend to the house and things like that. I don't even got no kids and I don't have a boyfriend, I don't have a husband, I don't have anybody I'm talking to. I'm single dingle out here. So and I don't necessarily have much of a social life. Like I got a best friend, but like, you know, she has her things and things going on with her. Like I hang out with my family, but again, they have their things. So like at the end of the day, I'm by myself. So I don't have anybody that's calling my attention. So it's easy for me to it's easy for me to set out a time and have freedom to pick and choose what I want to do. I don't have a child that has needs. I don't have a man that needs my attention. I mean, I do have God. He needs my attention. Yet I still have freedom, if that makes sense. So I will say, like right now, since I don't have anything that is pressing for my attention or pressing for me to do, it is easier for me to navigate. But for someone that, has a little baby or, has a husband or a wife or, owns a business or, is I don't know. I don't know. I could see where it could be difficult because you're so used to, you know, a certain routine and then you're adding on school, which, you know, you need to obtain the information, but also it's a continual thing because it's literally 4 months, right? 5 months, technically. Yeah, if you don't count in, like, 5 months if you don't count the breaks. 4 months, 3.5 months if you count the breaks and the stuff like that. The holidays and things like that. So, like I said, I can see where it could be difficult. But once you get in it and you get your groove, you're fine. I don't think that should stop anyone from going to school. It doesn't, but I think, we get in this mindset of, oh, it's hard to get back in, or I waited too late, or man, I should have done it when I was younger. I should have been in this I should have coulda woulda. There's a lot of things that could have happened. There's a lot of things that should have happened. And there's a lot of things that would have happened. But I think the time that you go is the time that you need to be. Now, granted, I should have known what I wanted to do when I was when I first graduated college. I graduated with an associate's in art, and I knew that's what I wanted to do was art. I liked art. Now, am I great at it? Some people might say yes, other people might say no, other people might say I need to improve, and other people might say, you know, um, I shouldn't get into it at all. But my interest was always art. I wanted to be a creative writer, but I took a couple of workshop classes. I even took a poetry class, did not like it. Nothing wrong with the teacher, nothing wrong with the class, but I don't write poetry. That's not my strong suit. Stories, depending on what it was, I do have a short story that I do feel like it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it. Um, so like I have ideas. I've always been a creative thinker on certain things, and that's what I feel like led me to my associates in art. Um, and when I transferred to a university, I was going to go into journalism, and I shouldn't have had. I should have just stuck with the arts, or at least liberal arts. And financially, there was some things that had happened, so I didn't continue. And then I went to another university close to home in another state and got really set back. And again, I was still wanting to go into the liberal arts and science with an emphasis on like English and journalism, things like that for creative writing. When in reality, I should have just stuck with art or something that would have expand my mind creatively. And yeah, I really should have. I should have I should have taken out the loan when I was given a chance because now I wouldn't have, you know, the school dang near bullying me to pay them. I mean, they not bullying me, but you know what I mean? But I would have had a bill regardless because it would have been something I would have had to continue paying. Um, and I should have known fully what I wanted to do back then because back then I thought I wanted to be a writer. I was writing. Couldn't stop me from writing. And now, like I said, I don't know if fashion is my I don't know if fashion is necessarily what would be my outlet. I just want to be a creative director. Um, and whether that's directing photo shoots, whether that's, putting pieces together as far as like fashion or even like a set, whether that's, coming in and being like, hey, like, let's do this, and this, and put it together and mash it up, see what's to come of it. I don't know. I just know I want to be a creative director. Period. Even if that's like designing coloring books, um, designing greeting cards, designing wrapping paper. Like, I guess textiles. I could do that. But like, you know, it's, the world is my oyster. I can pick and choose what I want to do. But I just know I want to be creative. Like I said, I'm not the greatest drawer. I like how I draw, and sometimes it might not look exactly how I want it to, but I like my art. My art isn't for everybody, and not everybody's going to like it. Not everybody's going to appreciate it. Not everybody is going to be fascinated with it. That's perfectly fine. I'm fascinated with my art. I like a certain type of art aesthetic. So, but yeah. But I say all that to say, that was my experience, and I really hope, and it's not just for her or towards her, but also for me too, for everybody. E is for everybody. Rated E for everybody. But I really do hope and pray that in the near future that we are careful of how we present ourselves to others. Even though our intention might not be of negative intention, somebody can take it as a negative intention. And that's not, it's not taking away their experience, and it's not taking away the recipient's experience, and it's not taking away the giver's experience. We just have to be careful on how we present ourselves in any setting. In any setting. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So my lipstick for tonight is the Fenty Beauty. You can kind of see it. It's the Fenty Beauty Underdog. When I first bought this, I thought it was a little bit brighter. This is more, and I don't know if it's because of the lighting, but it's red. But it's more like a brown red. I kind of wish it was a little brighter, like a tad bit brighter. And I like dark colors. I think I look good in dark colors as far as like lips. But like this, and it's a matte. It's a little bit matte. It's not necessarily a gloss. Sometimes I will put a gloss with this. But tonight, since I just got off of work and I really didn't want to do I wasn't really trying to showcase anything. I would put a gloss with this just to kind of brighten it up a little bit. But I do like this color. I do need to get like some new lip colors just because, I don't know, I like lipstick a little bit. But anyway, all right, I think I'm done for tonight. I just wanted to get on here and talk a little bit. And yeah, till next time.